another video.
All devices are activated.
Yes. So I'm going to ask a question that doesn't have anything to do with war, because I know you guys are going to do it. So this is, when you were a kid, what movie traumatized you, or what scares you, even as an adult? Mostly because, Halloween's coming, Friday the 13th's coming, so it just kind of gets us all in a spooky mood. Lore is spooky, so what things kind of scared you as a child?
I don't know if I was a slow child. For some reason, it makes no sense. I can't believe this is actually how it went. Maybe it didn't, but anyway, I did see Halloween, and that was of course big, but it was a little bit more fun, scary than really scary. And then I remember seeing Jaws and coming home and being afraid to be home alone. I don't know why. That's what I'm saying makes no sense, right?
You're in the bathtub, Jaws comes over.
Yeah, no, I live smack dab and nowhere near water in the middle of the country, so I don't get that, but that's how I remember that. I remember another night watching something to do with aliens, and it might have been an X-Files actually, and that got me. Alien abduction. Somehow my mind could imagine that could be real.
Right.
And that is what I like about the way that they're telling these stories, because we've topped out a bit on what we can do with shock and gore and stunts, and we're getting up there to where there's not a lot further to go, and I keep thinking we have to engage the mind again into storytelling, and we're all trying to kind of get into movies, and we somehow like to be scared. I think it's very weird that we do, but we do. And you're trying to suspend reality and get into this experience, and I think it helps when it crosses over with real storytelling, that these stories, people experience this and have passed it down.
So you wouldn't say that you're superstitious at all?
I'm really not, but there are a couple of times where I'll notice myself doing something and go, oh, okay, I guess I am. Like, I can't say that I'm not anymore. I did take a picture of Robert while we were filming and then deleted it, and I thought, I'll just play it safe, and then I was like, that's so dumb. Like, why am I just manhandled? I pulled his arm off by accident at one point.
So what drew you to this show specifically?
It was first the people that were involved. I think X-Files is one of my favorite shows. It's on the top 10 list, and it just holds up. And I think they do an incredible job of telling really unique stories on X-Files. And Walking Dead, I thought, was a fascinating accomplishment that they could make that about people actually in this crazy arena. And then so that's how it starts, the conversation with managers, as they say these people are involved, and you go, oh, okay, and then they send the script, and then I read it, and if my mind immediately starts thinking about how I would say it, then I don't get better the longer I think about it. So if I get an immediate picture, I know that I can probably not embarrass myself and do this. But I thought the story was well written.
And it's a one-off story. How do you approach this as an actress instead of doing like 7 seasons of
Yeah. I mean, I guess you kind of approach it the same. You always feel in the beginning of any show that, it's first day in a new school. You're like, I hope that they like what I'm doing, and you have to do the first take, and then the director comes out, and you're like, and he says, great, but do this or do that. Okay, and then after a couple hours, you're like, okay, I think we're in the ballpark. Like on this story, it's really about a mother who loves her kid unconditionally, and there's something very wrong, and she can't figure it out. And because I always have felt with True Blood or anything, or Maleficent, that I can't play the supernatural. I can't play immortal. I can just play that I'm in this scene and I love this person and they're gonna die. So, which is every episode of True Blood. But this, the difference, what was really nice was some sets continue to feel like a new school the whole episode. This, I felt like, wow, it feels like we've been doing this for a while. It feels like we've all been working together. This is really, and part of that was that in Atlanta where they were shooting it, that they had Walking Dead crew and directors that have been working together for years. So it was just, and the director that I had, Michael, was unbelievable, and the people cast with me, we just immediately gelled. And so if I had gotten to continue for 7 years, I would have figured out more layers. But it didn't feel like I was kind of, there's some parts where you feel like you're fooling them. You're kind of getting away with, you know, fooling them. And now I kind of felt like, okay, you know, I know what I'm doing. And again, I think that comes from clear writing, good storytelling.
They always say you never work with kids or dogs or in the water. How was it working?
This kid was naturally creepy. Sorry if he hears this. He was the sweetest, most endearing boy you've ever met in your life. He was rather self-possessed for a kid his age. You know, like, the possessed is probably not a word he'd want there. But, you know, he kind of could just be himself and be quiet and be comfortable in his own skin. And then he would say the line, you know, Robert doesn't like it when you do that. And just that kind of calm presence was like, ooh, that was creepy, you know. And the director was also really great with him. So the hours are, you know, different and challenging because they can only work so many hours and they have to go to school, and so then you got to hurry up and do part of the scene this way. But it was not bad. It wasn't strenuous for him or for us. I think we enjoyed each other.
So have you listened to the podcast? And do you listen to other podcasts at all?
You know, I haven't listened to this one yet, and that's again like the Charlaine Harris books. I'm gonna read them. I'm gonna read them because I became aware of the podcast by being cast in this, and then I didn't want to listen to it. I thought, is it gonna change how I do the performance? Like, again, I just wanted to go with like my first impression. And it's like Maleficent. When they said they wanted me back, I was like, then I'm not going to watch the Angelina Jolie movie till after. And I did watch it after. And the same with the Charlaine Harris books. I thought, I'm just going to go with the script that I have to say. So, and I do listen to The Nerdist. And again, I was introduced to it because I was on it. And Aisha Taylor, is it Tyler or Taylor? But she's so lovely, and I love listening to her podcast as well. And then I listen to Serial, of course, right? Yeah. So, but I do this drive quite a bit that's a little bit long, and I've been doing books on tape.
Like everybody at the table.
Really? Have you been?
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, Audible, right? Like it's pretty incredible. Books on phone. I know, that's how you know how old someone is, because kids will be like, what's a tape? Or is it going to be like, they say books on tape, but they don't even know what it means?
Right, it's kind of like when you're on the computer and the little save disc is that little floppy that they'll never know what that is.
Right, totally. What is that a picture of?
Right, like, why did you guys pick that back in my day?
Well, we say check the gate at the end of and that would be a little thing before the film. And now they still say check the gate, and there's no film, there's no gate.
It's all digital.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of those things just stick, and it's tougher to change that.
I know, rule of thumb, like all of these things. Yeah. Yeah, sleep tight. I found out touring a house in the South what that was, you know. So anywho, yeah.
What is that?
So they had these beds with ropes that wore the structure that held the mattress, and they had this big knob and a big wooden key that you would do this because it would loosen up over time.
It's legitimate.
Yeah, sleep tight. Sleep tight. But none of us go, what are you talking about, sleep
we don't
tight?
question that.
Right.
Sleep tight, sleep drunk.
Speaking of drunk, if you were an alcoholic beverage,
Yes.
what would you be and what would be in it?
Well, I just have to pick my favorite, probably
And that would be
lemon drop.
ooh, good
So
choice.
vodka.
Yes.
Just straight vodka
A little
with
bit
some
of sugar on
lemon
the
and
rim.
some sweetness.
Like that answer.
Kristin, I feel like you're always playing with powerful female characters. It's something that you're looking after, or did this role just come into your life?
I wonder that because I feel like I fought for 15 years to play a woman with any intelligence or any backbone. And if you watch anything, you realize she's never blonde. And so I felt like I was just struggling against the stereotype of what I look like. And I was talking to another blondie about it today, where no one's going to give us sympathy. But I swear people just kind of talk down to us. They kind of assume you're a little stupid. There's something light about the way we look where people just don't imagine you have substance. And then I got Pam. And it was because she was written to be blonde in the books. And somehow I end up playing, and I wanted it for so long. And somehow I end up playing like one of the strongest female characters ever written. I'm like, and then Maleficent. So I thought, this is a typecasting like I hope sticks. Right? I want this to stay.